Welcome to a deep dive into the world of therapy, specifically how different approaches tackle those tricky moments when someone's words and their reality seem to clash.
Yeah.
Like when you, despite your achievements, find yourself thinking, I'm such a failure. It's a puzzle, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to unpack three very different approaches to solving it. Motivational interviewing,
Okay.
provocative therapy,
Mm.
and advanced conversational hypnosis.
It's fascinating how these therapies, while aiming for the same outcome, take such wildly different paths to get there.
It's like having three different maps to the same destination.
Yeah.
First up, let's explore motivational interviewing, or MI.
Yeah.
It's known for its empathetic, almost gentle approach.
Imagine walking into a session feeling like a failure despite all you've accomplished.
Yeah.
An MI therapist wouldn't contradict you directly.
Oh.
Instead, they'd aim to understand your feelings and help you see the disconnect yourself.
So no tough love here.
Not quite.
Okay.
MI is more about strategic nudges. They might say, it sounds like you're really down on yourself, even though you've achieved, mention a specific achievement of the listener.
Mm-hmm.
How do those two things coexist for you?
So they're highlighting the discrepancy.
Right.
That gap between feeling like a failure and the reality of your success.
Exactly.
I can see how that would get you thinking. But isn't that a bit subtle? What if someone's really entrenched in that negative belief?
That's where the real cleverness of MI comes in.
Okay.
See, by pointing out the discrepancy without judgment,
Yeah.
they're actually tapping into a powerful psychological principle, cognitive dissonance.
Right.
When we hold two conflicting beliefs,
Yeah.
it creates mental discomfort, and our minds naturally try to resolve it.
So they're not forcing a change. They're creating the conditions for you to want to change.
Precisely. MI acts as a guide, helping you become aware of your own internal contradictions,
Yeah.
prompting you to explore those inconsistencies.
It's almost like holding up a mirror and letting you see the reflection for yourself.
Exactly.
Okay. Now I'm really curious to see how the next approach contrasts with this gentle guidance.
Sure.
You mentioned provocative therapy, right?
Oh, get ready for a shakeup.
Yeah.
If MI is a gentle breeze,
Okay.
provocative therapy is a playful hurricane.
The name certainly suggests that. So how would a provocative therapist handle our listeners' I'm a failure statement, especially knowing they have a history of success?
They might say something like, wow, a failure. Mention another specific achievement of the listener. You must be giving masterclasses on how to fail spectacularly.
I can practically feel myself bristling at that. But I can also see the humor in it.
Yeah.
Is that the point, to use shock and humor to break through those rigid thought patterns?
Exactly. It's about deliberately pushing the negative belief to an absurd extreme,
Yeah.
forcing you to confront its absurdity.
Okay.
Imagine them saying, don't break your failure streak now. After all, look at all you've failed to achieve.
Okay, I have to admit, that's pretty funny. It's like they're calling your bluff, daring you to defend the idea of being a failure when the evidence so clearly contradicts it.
And that's where the power of this approach lies,
Okay.
by using humor and exaggeration.
Yeah.
Provocative therapy aims to disrupt those automatic negative thoughts and create space for a new perspective to emerge.
It's almost like they're using laughter as a Trojan horse to sneak in some self-awareness. I'm starting to see how these two approaches,
Right.
while seemingly polar opposites, are both working towards helping you see yourself more clearly.
Exactly.
But we still have one more map to explore: advanced conversational hypnosis.
This one's a bit more subtle,
Okay.
operating on the level of language and unconscious cues.
So no swinging pocket watches or you are getting sleepy commands.
Not at all. This is about using carefully crafted questions
Oh, okay.
and paying close attention to how you respond, both verbally and non-verbally.
I'm picturing a detective meticulously gathering clues. How would they approach this feeling of being a failure when your achievements suggest otherwise?
Think less about direct confrontation or validation,
Okay.
and more about subtle prompts to encourage self-exploration.
Okay.
They might simply ask, you've accomplished so much. How does that fit with the feeling of being a failure?
That how seems really key here.
Exactly.
It's not about them telling you the answer. It's about guiding you to uncover it yourself.
Precisely. And that's because advanced conversational hypnosis works on the premise that the answers we seek are often hidden within us, waiting to be brought to light.
It's like they're handing you a flashlight and saying, Let's explore those hidden quarters of your mind together.
A great analogy.
Yeah.
And within those hidden corners often lie the roots of those internal contradictions we're trying to untangle.
Wow. We've already encountered 3 completely different approaches to handling the same issue.
Oh, no, it's amazing.
It's like choosing a tool from a therapist's toolkit.
Right.
Each designed for a specific purpose.
Exactly.
But before we move on, let's take a moment to compare and contrast these approaches a bit more closely.
A great idea. Understanding their differences is key to appreciating their strengths.
Okay.
Let's break it down.
All right. So if we were to summarize each style.
Okay. Motivational interviewing is the gentle guide using empathy and skillfully placed questions to help you see your own contradictions and find your own solutions.
Provocative therapy is the playful trickster using humor and exaggeration to disrupt those negative thought patterns and shake things up.
And advanced conversational hypnosis is the subtle detective using language and a keen eye for unconscious cues to guide you on a journey of self-discovery.
3 very different paths, all aimed at helping you break free from those self-limiting beliefs and embrace a more balanced and accurate view of yourself.
I love it.
But which path resonates most with you?
That's a question worth pondering.
Right.
What aspects of each approach appeal to you and why?
We'll be back soon to explore that question and delve even deeper into the world of therapeutic approaches.
Sounds good.
But for now, take a moment to reflect on what we've covered and consider which path might feel most inviting to you.
Yeah, think about it.
Welcome back. I don't know about you, but those 3 approaches have really got me thinking.
Yeah.
Each one is so unique, yet they're all trying to achieve the same thing,
Right.
helping you break free from that I'm a failure mindset,
Exactly.
especially when it clashes so starkly with what you've actually achieved.
It's a testament to how complex we humans are, wouldn't you say? There's no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to untangling these internal knots.
Absolutely. So let's revisit each approach, zeroing in on what makes it tick.
Okay.
And maybe even start to see which one might resonate most with you.
Yeah.
We started with motivational interviewing, that gentle guide, encouraging self-discovery.
It all boils down to this. MI believes you already possess the wisdom to overcome this challenge.
Okay.
The therapist's role is to help you access that wisdom.
How do they do that?
Remember that. How does that fit question?
Yeah.
It's designed to trigger that self-reflection.
And it's not just about asking questions, right?
Right.
There's a real art to how an MI therapist listens and responds.
Spot on.
Yeah.
They're not just waiting for their turn to speak. They're actively listening, reflecting back what they hear,
Yeah.
and subtly highlighting those discrepancies between your words and your actions.
Okay.
It's like they're holding up a mirror, but a very specific kind of mirror that reflects back the potential you might not be seeing yourself.
I can see how that could be incredibly empowering, especially for someone who feels stuck and unsure of how to move forward.
Yeah.
But then we took a sharp turn to the realm of provocative therapy, which feels almost like the opposite approach.
It's definitely a departure from the gentle nudging of MI.
Right.
Provocative therapy takes a more, shall we say, in-your-face approach,
Okay.
using humor and deliberate exaggeration
Yeah.
to challenge that fixed failure narrative.
It's funny, even just thinking about those playful jabs, like suggesting a masterclass on failure,
Right.
makes me want to rebel. But I can also see how that jolt could snap someone out of a rigid way of thinking.
Exactly.
Mm.
Sometimes we need a bit of a shakeup
Mm-hmm.
to disrupt those deeply ingrained patterns.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying, okay, you think you're a failure. Let's take that idea for a spin and see where it leads us.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, usually leads to laughter, which is a powerful antidote to negativity.
And laughter can be so disarming, right?
Right.
It can lower your defenses and make you more open to considering a different perspective. It's like sneaking in the truth through the back door while you're busy chuckling.
A brilliant way to put it. And speaking of sneaking in through the back door, that brings us to advanced conversational hypnosis, the subtle detective of the therapy world.
This one still feels a bit mysterious to me.
Yeah.
I keep thinking of those stage hypnotists making people cluck like chickens.
Right.
But
Rest assured, this is a far cry from stage hypnosis. ACH therapists are more like linguistic ninjas,
okay.
carefully choosing their words and questions to
Wow.
bypass your conscious mind and access those deeper unconscious beliefs.
So going back to our listener's situation, instead of directly challenging or validating the I'm a failure statement, an ACH therapist might say something like, you've achieved X, Y, and Z.
Right.
What's happening inside that creates this feeling of failure despite those accomplishments?
Precisely. Notice how that question directs the listener inward.
Okay.
It's an invitation to explore the inner workings of their own mind, to uncover the root cause of that contradiction.
Right.
It's about planting a seed of curiosity that can blossom into profound insights.
It's like they're giving you a map to your own internal landscape and saying, the treasure you seek is buried somewhere in here.
Yes.
Go explore.
I love it.
Okay, we've done a pretty thorough job of comparing and contrasting these three approaches.
Right.
But I'm still curious about how they might apply to specific situations.
That's a great point. The best approach often depends on the individual and the context.
Okay.
Let's explore some scenarios to see how these therapies might play out in real life.
So imagine for a second you're sitting across from a therapist and those words, "I'm such a failure," slip out.
Yeah.
Even though you know deep down they don't align with your accomplishments.
Right.
Which therapeutic approach do you think would resonate most with you?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost like choosing the right key for a specific lock. What works for one person might not be the best fit for another.
Exactly. It's not just about the technique itself.
Right.
It's about how it interacts with your personality, your communication style, even your current emotional state.
Let's say you're someone who values gentleness and introspection.
Oh, okay.
You might find yourself drawn to the empathetic approach of motivational interviewing. Those carefully crafted questions and reflections could feel like a warm invitation to explore your inner landscape without feeling pressured or judged.
But what if you're someone who thrives on a bit of a challenge, who needs that jolt of energy to break out of a negative spiral?
In that case, provocative therapy might be your cup of tea. That playful confrontation, the deliberate use of humor and exaggeration, could feel incredibly liberating, like someone's finally giving you permission to laugh at the absurdity of those self-defeating thoughts.
And then we have advanced conversational hypnosis, which feels like a more subtle, almost mysterious approach.
Right.
Who might find themselves resonating with that style.
I think ACH would appeal to someone who's naturally curious about the inner workings of their mind.
Okay.
Someone who enjoys peeling back the layers and exploring those hidden corners of their psyche.
Yeah.
It's for those who appreciate a more indirect approach, where the therapist acts as a guide, helping you uncover your own insights through carefully chosen words and questions.
It's amazing to think that all three of these approaches,
I know, right?
while so different in style and technique,
Yeah.
are ultimately aiming to help you achieve the same goal.
Right.
Greater self-awareness, a more balanced perspective, and the ability to break free from those limiting beliefs.
It speaks to the incredible diversity and flexibility of therapy, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
There's a whole toolbox of approaches out there, each designed to meet different needs and personalities.
And that's why finding the right therapist is so crucial.
Yeah.
Someone who not only understands the techniques, but also understands you as an individual.
Absolutely. It's about finding a therapist who can tailor their approach to your unique needs and preferences, creating a safe and supportive environment where you can explore those internal contradictions without feeling judged or overwhelmed.
But here's what I find truly fascinating.
What's that?
Even if you never step foot in a therapist's office, understanding these different approaches can still be incredibly valuable in your everyday life.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
These therapeutic principles offer insights into human behavior that can help you navigate all sorts of challenging situations,
Right.
whether you're dealing with internal conflicts or trying to understand someone else's seemingly contradictory actions.
For instance, the next time you find yourself wrestling with a negative thought pattern, think back to motivational interviewing. Can you highlight the discrepancy between your thoughts and your actions?
Right.
Can you ask yourself those gentle but probing questions that might nudge you towards a new perspective?
And if you're feeling stuck in a rut, maybe it's time to channel your inner provocative therapist.
Okay.
Can you inject a bit of humor into the situation? Can you exaggerate those negative thoughts to the point of absurdity, making them lose their power over you?
Or perhaps you need to approach the situation like an advanced conversational hypnosis detective.
Right.
What are the hidden meanings behind your words and actions? What unconscious beliefs might be driving those contradictions?
By applying these therapeutic principles to your everyday life, you're essentially becoming your own therapist,
Oh, wow.
equipped with the tools and insights to navigate those internal conflicts and emerge with a greater sense of self-awareness and understanding.
It's like having a secret decoder ring for human behavior.
Exactly. And that's the real magic of this deep dive, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's not just about understanding therapy. It's about understanding yourself and those around you on a deeper level.
So as we wrap up our exploration,
Okay.
I encourage you to keep these three approaches in mind.
Yeah.
They offer a fascinating glimpse into the diverse ways we can approach those inevitable moments of contradiction, both within ourselves and in our interactions with others.
And remember, contradiction isn't something to fear or avoid.
Right.
It's a natural part of being human.
Yeah.
By embracing those contradictions,
Hmm.
exploring them with curiosity and compassion,
Yeah.
we open ourselves up to incredible opportunities for growth, understanding, and connection.
Thanks for joining us on this fascinating journey. Until next time, keep those minds curious, those hearts open, and those internal contradictions flowing.
After all, it's in the spaces between those contradictions that we often discover our most profound truths.